What Mexico got that Canada didn't. Let's go inside the bilateral talks. Canada's been trying to get a meeting with U.S. Trade Representative, and Mexico has been in formal bilateral negotiations since March. Round one wrapped up last week in Mexico City with the U.S. and Mexico exclusively. Round two is scheduled next week, June 16th, and round three is scheduled on July 20th, 3 weeks after the July 1st deadline. You know what that means for July 1st. Canada has actually had 2 face-to-face meetings in the past 8 months with the trade representative. And Mexico's had 3 formal negotiating rounds and 2 more scheduled. I'm Jack Jackson. This is Manufacture Daily. Let's get into it. So, let's look at why the gap exists and what it means for manufacturers on the Canadian side. Let's go through the actual numbers. So, the U.S. has placed 52 specific demands on Mexico in these bilateral talks. Mexico's asked for 12 demands on the U.S. in return. It's obviously not equal. Washington's dictating their terms because they're the elephant in the room. What do they call it? I forget the other saying. But crucially, Mexico is at the table. Mexico knows what the 52 demands are. Mexico's working through them one by one. Canada got a little bit of a sense the other day when Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, stated some of the facts I had in the podcast I did the other day. So there are some negotiations being thrown out in the public, but not face to face, and it's just in the media, I'll call it, where Greer has been talking about what they want, French language, dairy, the usual stuff, and Canada's like, let's just keep everything the same, and kumbaya, I think, is what Premier Ford said. So they are talking, but through the media. Mexico's being serious. They're sitting down and talking and got everything on paper together. So Mexico's done something that Canada hasn't. It's taken concrete steps forward. That's what the U.S. wants. So Mexico has placed tariffs on 1,400 Chinese import products, aligning with the external tariff structure that the U.S. wants. That's exactly the tariff structure that Greer asked for. And Canada hasn't really moved forward on that front yet at all. Mexico's also resolved a major political irritant, the Mexican Army's elimination of the Jalisco cartel leader, giving the Mexican government security when it could bring to the table, saying that we are looking at the cartels and we are doing something about it. Canada's political irritants, like the Ontario anti-tariff ad that triggered Trump to cancel all trade talks, are still fresh in Washington's memory. Mexico's ahead because Mexico's been playing the game that Washington wants them to play. Canada's still arguing about whether the game is fair. That's pretty well a good summary. So what does the bilateral rounds are actually covering? Well, published an agenda for the U.S.-Mexico rounds: automotive rules of origin, steel aluminum content, economic security in round 1. Agriculture and a level playing field comes up in round 2, and resolving all pending issues come up in round 3. Already established, agenda set, discussion and negotiation done. Those are exactly the issues that matter for Canadian manufacturers. Is the automotive content, obviously, the rules for that, the rules of steel and aluminum, and of course our agriculture market access. They're being negotiated right now with Mexico, and we're not there. If we do finally sit down, and U.S. and Mexico have already shaped the framework, what are we going to be negotiating? Not sure. When the other 2 partners agreed, do we have to just sign off, or do we get a say, or do we have our own agreement? This uncertainty, as I said many times, is what stifles us manufacturers, as we just don't know what to plan and where to go. So, because this gets overstated, are we completely out? No, we're not completely absent, but Ottawa is participating in trilateral working groups, from what we understand. Canada's negotiator are in daily contact. LeBlanc, who's now our representative, has had 2 face-to-face meetings with Greer, and Canada has formally submitted its request for the 16-year renewal, putting it on record. In other words, we just want to renew. I don't know if that's a negotiation tactic or what, because the U.S. doesn't want to. They already told us. So round 2 comes up June 16th and 17th for U.S. and Mexico. And I'm not sure where we're going. As things have been happening the last couple of days with Ford showing up there talking about Kumbaya, the North American fortress. We'll have to get more on that. So Mexico's had 3 rounds of formal bilateral CUSMA, USMCA, TMEC talks. And Mexico's already moved on Chinese tariffs. We in Canada are accepting Chinese and have done deals with Chinese for more products to come here. I think Greer said, or somebody said, that the proposal put out to ban anybody in a Chinese vehicle to cross into the United States from Canada too. Oh, it was some days. The reality of where each country stands, and we're 21 days to July 1st. So for manufacturing means the rules of origin, content requirements are being negotiated right now by the 3 partners, and we're just waiting to see where we're going. I'm Jack Jackson, Manufacturer Daily. Let's get your business across the border. We'll see you tomorrow.